Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera to all my students. So today Cikgu Hus come back, right? So we will discuss about chapter 3, nutrition in plants. So in this chapter we will cover 3 subtopics. So the first one is the main inorganic nutrient. Second, organ for water and mineral salt uptake. And then the last subtopic is diversity in plant nutrition. Okay, hopefully all of you already read about this topic, the content in this topic. Okay. First one, main inorganic nutrient. Alright, so like other living things, plants also need nutrients to grow well and produce high quality yield. So plants need inorganic nutrients to produce organic compounds such as carbohydrate and protein. Alright, so there are two main inorganic nutrients, which is the first one is macronutrient, consists of carbon, calcium, hydrogen, magnesium, oxygen, phosphorus, nitrogen, sulfur and potassium. So macronutrients mean the plant needs the nutrient in the large quantity, right? And then for the second one is micronutrient. So macronutrients such as chloride, zinc, iron, copper, manganese, nickel, boron and molybdenum. So the plant need this nutrient in a small quantity. Okay. So this is the necessity of the macronutrient in plant. So look at the first one, which is carbon, oxygen and hydrogen. Actually, these three macronutrients is very important in the component in the carbon cycle and oxygen cycle. So this component in all organic compound. And then this is an important component in synthesis of sugar. So what happens if these three components, these three macronutrients is not sufficient? So the first one, the plant cannot carry out photosynthesis. So less oxygen release. So it will cause stunted growth, which can cause death of the plant. Alright, and then the second one is the potassium. Actually, potassium is very important for protein synthesis and carbohydrate metabolism. It also acts as a cofactor for some enzyme and maintain plant turgidity. Okay, so deficiency will cause the protein synthesis disrupted. Each of the leaf become yellowish, premature death of plant. Right, and then the third one is nitrogen. Actually, nitrogen in our air is 70%. So nitrogen is very important to give the green color through the formation of chlorophyll in plant, and it's also the main component of protein, nucleic acid and enzyme in photosynthesis and respiration. So lack of nitrogen will make the leaf undergo chlorosis, mainly on the matured leaf. Chlorosis means the leaf will become yellowish color. Underlying leaf will fall off and protein synthesis disrupted and also will cause stunted growth. Next micronutrient in plant is the calcium. Actually, calcium is very important for the main component of the middle lamella, cell wall and spindle fibers during cell division. Okay, so the deficiency of the calcium will make the plant stunted growth. The leaf become distorted and loop. The part between leaf vein will become yellowish, right? And then the magnesium is very important because it's a main component of the structure of chlorophyll molecule. So it will activate some plant enzyme and also involve in carbohydrate metabolism. So deficiency of the magnesium will cause the plant part between the matured leaf vein will become yellowish color and then make the leaf surface become red spot and also produce lobe leaf. Phosphorus. Actually, phosphorus is very important to synthesize the nucleic acid, ATP or the energy, and phospholipid in the plasma membrane. So, phosphorus also acts as a coenzyme in photosynthesis and respiration. Deficiency of the phosphorus will make the root growth will become unhealthy, and also formation of the dark green and dull color leaf. And some of the older leaf will become red or purple spot appear. Okay, and then sulfur, the last micronutrient in plant which is very important is sulfur. Sulfur is the component of a few amino acids and one of the vitamin B constituent and a few types of coenzyme. So deficiency of sulfur will make the leaf or the whole part of plant will become yellow. Alright guys, so now we go to the necessity of the micronutrient in plant. So there are 8 micronutrient in plant. So micronutrient is the nutrient which is needed in a small quantity, but the plant need this nutrient. Right. So the first one, chlorine. Right. What is the importance of chlorine? Importance of chlorine in the is to equilibrium of the osmotic pressure in cell and photosynthesis reaction. So without or the lack of the chlorine will make the plant wilt, slower root growth, the leaf will undergo sclerosis, and lesser fruit production. Okay, second is a manganese, which is important to activate photosynthetic enzyme, cell respiration, and nitrogen metabolism. So deficiency of the manganese will make the network of the dark green leaf vein with a background of light green and light brown or grey spot in between leaf vein. Okay, and then the third one is iron. Iron acts as a cofactor in chlorophyll synthesis. That is important in the growth of the young plant. Deficiency of the iron will make the young leaf become yellowish. Right, and then the fourth is boron. Okay, so the boron is to help the root in calcium ion uptake and sucrose translocation. It also involved in carbohydrate metabolism and also help in germination of pollen. So deficiency of the boron will make the plant dead of the terminal bud and abnormal growth. And then the leaf also become thicker, roll up and fragile. Okay, this is the 4 micronutrients. Next micronutrient is zinc. Okay, zinc is important in leaf formation. So synthesis of auxin, which is auxin is the plant hormone, help in the growth of the plant. And then zinc also acts as a cofactor in carbohydrate metabolism. So deficiency of the zinc will make the leaf surface become spotted with chlorosis part and stunted growth. Okay, the next one is a copper. Okay, copper is involved in nitrogen metabolism and photosynthesis. It also important for growth, reproduction, and flower formation. So deficiency of the copper will make the dead in the young shoot apex, and then the terminal leaf become brown spot, and the plant become stunted. Okay. So right, now, and then nickel go to the history of the plant enzyme involved in the breakdown of urea to become ammonia. Julius Sachs and the William or lack of nickel will make the plant stunted growth experiment to determine the role of macronutrient in the plant of the leaf due to urea. So a culture, the last one solution is a molybdenum. Is a culture very important involved in nitrogen fixation of nutrient for plant and growth. Nitrate reduction
not
during
solution
protein
contain
synthesis.
all the nutrients including
Deficiency of the
trace
molybdenum
element will
needed
make
by
the
the healthy
matured
plant.
leaf vein
So this NOP solution is
become
prepared by the
chlorosis.
chemist named
And
William
then the
Knox
leaf
in
color also become pale green
1859.
and it can
So this
reduce the
is the
crop
table
production.
show the complete NOP culture solution. Okay, so they have a calcium nitrate, potassium nitrate, potassium dihydrogen phosphate, magnesium sulfate, iron 3 phosphate, and also distilled water. So this is the ingredient to prepare the NOP culture solution. So this solution is formulated by the William Knox. Okay. Right. So now we go to the 3.2 organ for the water and mineral salt uptake. Okay. So there are two main functions of root. When we said about the water and mineral salt uptake, so it is the function for the root. Alright. The first one, provide support and strength to anchor the plant in the soil. And then second, the function of the root to absorb water and mineral salt from the soil and transport them to the stem and leaf. Okay, this is the picture, the structure of the root for water and mineral salt uptake. Okay, this one, root cola. Okay, root cola is a part of the root connected to the base of the plant stem. Okay, this is the root cola. And then the next one is a root hair. Okay, root hair is adapted for epidermal cell of the root. And then it will increase the total surface area of the root to increase the uptake of water and mineral salt. Okay, and then the last one is root cap. So root cap is located at the tip of the root. The function is to protect the root from damage when going through the soil. Right? This is the picture, the structure, the internal structure of root. Okay, consists of cambium vascular, endodermis, root hair cell, cortex, epidermis, primary xylem, primary phloem, and also pericycle. So primary xylem, pericycle, and primary phloem will form the vascular cylinder. Okay. This is the function of the internal structure of root with the characteristic. Okay, the first one is epidermis. So epidermis is closely arranged to increase the surface area. It also have the thin cell wall and water permeable cell membrane to facilitate water movement in the root. The third one, epidermis, have the epidermal cell, which is to form root hair by elongating towards lateral side from the outer wall. And then root hair cells are not layered with cuticle to allow water absorption. And then epidermis also have the root hair cell with a big vacuole to store water and mineral salt to increase water absorption. Under the epidermis, there is a cortex. So, cortex is located under the epidermal layer. It has a thin wall, cell wall, to facilitate water movement in the root. The second one, the cells are loosely arranged to facilitate gaseous exchange, and most of the cortex consists of parenchyma cells. Okay, and then under the cortex is endodermis. So endodermis, separating layer between cortex and vascular cylinder. So endodermal cells are closely arranged and one cell thick. Most of the endodermal cells have the suberin or the lignin thickening at the wall which form a Casparian strip. So Casparian strip is allow water and mineral salt absorption from the soil to enter the vascular cylinder but not the air bubble. Okay, the last one is vascular cylinder. So when we say a vascular cylinder, we will remember about the xylem and phloem. Okay, Actually, vascular cylinder is the root core that consists of xylem and phloem tissue surrounded by the one-cell pericycle cell tissue. Okay, vascular cylinder consists of pericycle involved in the secondary growth and the formation of the lateral roots. So this is already discussed in the second chapter. Xylem and phloem are arranged in a star-shaped pattern. So xylem is to transport water in mineral salt from the soil water, while the phloem transport organic substance such as sucrose and plant hormone. Right. Now we go to the subtopic 3.3, diversity in plant nutrition. Okay, before that, we must know what is nutrition. Okay, actually, nutrition is the process of organism obtaining energy and nutrient from food for growth, maintenance, and repair of damaged tissue. There are three types of the adaptation of the plant to obtain nutrients, which is parasitic, epiphytic, and carnivorous plant. Okay, the first one is parasitic plant. The example of parasitic plant is Rafflesia and some of the other plant, okay, which is parasitic plant will growing on the other plant, which are the host. And then the root will absorb organic substance, mineral and water from the host by penetrating the stem up to the vascular bundle of the host. So the host is malnourished and also it will cause the host dry and will eventually die. Okay, this is the parasitic plant. The second one is the epiphytic plant. Okay, epiphytic plant actually are green plant which live on other plant which are the host. Okay, so it will receive more sunlight for photosynthesis by living in the taller host. So these plants synthesize their own food. Okay, so it do not harm the host because the roots of the epiphytes can absorb nutrients accumulated in the gaps of the plant stem. So most of the epiphytes have swollen stems that are able to store a lot of water. So the example of epiphytic plants such as bulbophyllum, okay, the white orchid, and aspergillum or the bird nest fern. Okay, so these plants carry out their own photosynthesis, so they don't take the nutrient from the host. Okay, the last one is the carnivorous plant. Okay, carnivorous plant able to synthesize their own food by carrying out photosynthesis. Actually, it able to secrete nectar and they have a cup to trap their prey, typically insects. Okay, such as beetles. Okay, flies. Alright. And then the prey are then slowly digested by digestive enzyme. So this plant will trap the animal. Okay, so the trapped animal can supply nitrogen to the plant. So nitrogen is very important for growth. This is because carnivorous plants live in soil with lack of nitrogen source. So the example of carnivorous plants such as Venus flytrap and picture plant. Okay. Alright, that's all for today, everybody. So hopefully you enjoy with my class. So the next class will be chapter 4. Alright, thank you very much. So stay at home, stay safe. Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and goodbye. Bye everybody.